Family said no, but their love story stunned everyone. Richard Turner was 61 years old when he met Anna. He never imagined that at his age, love would come knocking again. After losing his wife a decade earlier, Richard had settled into a quiet rhythm. Mornings spent tending his small Florida garden, afternoons reading in his armchair, and long evenings in silence. His children visited only during holidays. Friends teased him about dating apps or social clubs, but he always waved them off. That part of my life is over, he would say. But fate had other plans. On a trip to Mexico, Richard wandered into a small beachside cafe. The midday sun was hot and the ocean breeze barely cooled his skin. That's where he first saw Anna. She was 28 with a quick smile and eyes that seemed to carry both mischief and sadness. She served him coffee and he complimented the music playing softly in the background. To his surprise, she sat down during her break and they began to talk. It was supposed to be nothing, a light conversation, a passing moment, yet they spoke for hours about books, travel, dreams, and even fears. Richard told himself it was simply pleasant company. But when Anna began meeting him outside her work, walking along the shoreline, laughing under the stars, he felt something awaken inside him that he thought had long died. When his vacation ended, they promised to stay in touch. Back home in Florida, Richard found himself checking his phone constantly, smiling at Anna's messages, but when he confided in his son, the response was brutal. "Dad, she's younger than me, she just wants a ticket to America or your bank account, don't be a fool." Richard tried to laugh it off, but doubt sank its claws into his heart. Was his son right? Despite the warnings, Anna eventually came to visit him. When she walked through his neighborhood, heads turned, neighbors whispered. At church, old friends looked at him with raised eyebrows. At a family dinner, his daughter finally exploded. "This is insulting, Dad. Mom's memory isn't even cold in the ground and you're parading some young girl around. Can't you see she's using you?" Richard's voice cracked as he tried to defend himself. "You don't know her, you don't see how she makes me feel." The dinner ended in silence, tension hanging heavier than the Florida humidity. The gossip didn't stop. One of Richard's oldest friends, Tom, pulled him aside. "Buddy, I've seen this before. Young woman, older man, it never ends well. Protect yourself before it's too late." Even Anna noticed the stares. One night sitting on Richard's porch, she whispered, "Maybe they're right, maybe this is too hard." Richard felt fear grip his chest. "Anna, don't say that." She looked at him, her eyes wet. "Do you really want to spend your last years fighting everyone just to be with me?" For days after, Richard barely slept. He replayed his children's words, his friends' warnings, and Anna's doubt. He loved her, but the weight of judgment was suffocating. Then came the turning point. Anna received a marriage proposal from a man her family back home approved of, a wealthy businessman close to her age. It was everything she had once wanted: security, stability, respectability. Everyone assumed she would say yes. But she didn't. She sat across from Richard, her hands trembling. "I turned him down," she said softly. Richard stared stunned. "Why?" "Because I don't want safety without love. I don't want a life where I'm respected but not seen. With you, I feel alive. With you, I can be myself, even if the world doesn't understand." For the first time in months, Richard's doubts melted away. Her choice was proof enough. Yet challenges continued. Immigration paperwork dragged on, money became tight, family members still resisted. One night Richard overheard his cousin saying he'll die broke because of her. That sentence haunted him. He sat at his kitchen table until dawn, staring at his will, wondering if he was making a colossal mistake. But at sunrise, Anna came downstairs in his old sweater, hair messy, eyes still sleepy. She didn't speak, she just placed her hand on his shoulder, steady and warm. And in that silence, Richard realized something. Money fades, gossip fades, even approval fades. But the peace of a hand you trust, that's what lasts. 2 years later, Richard and Anna married in a quiet ceremony on the beach. Only a few close friends attended. His daughter didn't come, though his son stood awkwardly by his side, still unsure but slowly softening. As they exchanged vows, the ocean roared behind them. Richard's voice trembled as he said, "They told me I was a fool. Maybe I am, but I'd rather be a fool in love than a wise man alone." Anna squeezed his hand, tears streaming down her face. Years later, when asked about the scandal, Richard would smile and say, "It wasn't easy, I doubted her, I doubted myself. But she stayed through every storm. And I learned something at 61 that I wish I'd known earlier: love doesn't care about the calendar, it only cares about the courage to choose it."